All right. Hi, good evening, Lourdes. You're here, so we're going to begin this class. I'm going to wait that everybody's here so that we can see the details for the next essay and all those little things that we can talk about. But in the meantime, now that you're here, we're going to continue with this lesson. All right. And when everybody is in the class, again, one more time, we're going to see all the details related to questions that you may have related to the essay, to the assignments that we have to do for the following Monday, and all those other things that we're going to add for the next essay. All right. So let's begin. You know that the first class we worked with the first actually category that was additive transitions. We worked at least three, right, classes. That was adding information, introducing or highlighting, and clarifying or identifying important information. We worked those three ones, and I gave you this other extra two so that you can work with that as well in case you want to add extra words for your essays. Could be these essays or essays in the future. Now we have this next group of words that is going to be called adversative transitions. And of course, here we're going to talk about contrast, right? Concession, and things in which you are comparing or showing differences, right, between two ideas. Here we have a lot of like extra groups as well of these other groups. Contrasting, showing conflict, distinguishing, all right, or emphasizing, conceding a point, dismissing an argument or assertion, all right, and replacing and indicating an alternative. And here, the important ones that we're going to cover are going to be the following. Of course, contrasting. That is very, very important. Considering a point, it's very similar to contrasting, all right, those, and replacing and indicating an alternative. This one, distinguishing, emphasizing, of course, they're also very important, and dismissing an argument, but they are not going to be that, all right, that much used as these other two ideas, or sorry, three ideas: contrasting, conceding, and replacing. Those are the three groups that we're going to be covering today. Again, I'm going to mark the ones that follow the structure that we use, which are going to be the followings. Here is going to be however. While can be used in a different way, so it's going to be however, conversely. These two can be used with period, semicolon, this word, comma, and the next idea. And in this next group can be in contrast, right? On the contrary, this one as well. On the other hand, on the one hand, that's one thing. And by way of contrast. Most of them. So all of those that are marked are going to work with the rules that we learned. But you know how to use but, right? And I'm going to remind you how to use while and whereas. Yet, you also know how to use it with comma, right? We're going to use but with comma, as you know, and yet with comma. But let's read this group of words again, please, with me. Help me out with these words once again, please. Let's read all of them.
Okay, but still, however, while, whereas, conversely, and yet. In contrast, on the contrary, on the other hand, when in fact, by way of contrast.
Thank you very much. So those are the words that we can be used for contrasting or showing conflict, right? Contrasting or showing conflict. It means that you're going to show two very different ideas that are opposites to each other. So let's read the examples. You're going to help me with this, please, Luciana. However, let's read these examples, please. All right. It could be then with you, please, Sharai. Let's read the examples, please, Sharai. However.
Okay, teacher. However, there is still more research needed. On the other hand, the 1997 study does not recognize these outcomes.
Thank you very much. So, however, as you can see, and on the other hand, they are transitional words and phrases. So they are going to be used with period or semicolon, the word, however, or the phrase on the other hand, comma, and the complete idea. That is actually the second idea, right? You always use these words after a first idea that is not mentioned here. So you have, for example, this is very interesting. On the other hand, can be composed of two parts, right? You can say first, on the one hand, the first idea, semicolon period. On the other hand, the second contrasting idea, right? So this is the word, the phrase, sorry, I'm going to use a different color. So on the other hand, actually I'm going to use a different color than that one. You can use both ideas, all right? Again, you can say first, on the one hand, and secondly, on the other hand, right? For example, you can say, on the one hand, one of the authors says that this is a very important topic to take into account. On the other hand, many authors say that actually this is not that important, that we should pay attention to these other topics. All right, so first idea and the second idea that is contrasting, but actually they are going to work the same. All of the ones that are marked work the same, all right? You know, first idea, and actually I'm going to show you once again. Give me a second, please. And I'm going to use colors once again. Don't worry, I'm going to go back, but I want to show you. All of the ones that I marked, and I'm going to show you once again, work with this over here, right? With this formula, right? It's going to be the first idea, semicolon or period, transitional word or phrase, comma, and the second complete idea. So it's going to be all of them, right? Except for the ones that I'm going to color over here, but and still are not going to work that way. Give me a second, please. Okay, over here. But and still are going to work differently, while is going to work differently, right? Whereas is going to work differently. And I'm going to show you how. And yet, and you know, actually you know how to use yet, and you know how to use still, or sorry, but. And here, all of them actually, no, when in fact. All right. Those ones are going to work differently. You know also the rules of but, yet. If you check, and I'm going to show you that, if you go again to Google Classroom and you go to Fanboys, right? Here you know how to use both of them, right? This is going to be the document in which you are going to be taught how to use but. Here you have, right? You need a comma with but, and how to use yet. You can put a little bit of emphasis on saying and yet. You can say that, all right? And say, look, this is true, and yet someone else is contrasting the idea. But these are the rules for those two, okay? Those are the important ones that I want you to focus on, please. And this other one is going to be very similar, but it's going to be part of the first idea. For example, I'm going to do this, all right? We all believe, I'm going to use when in fact. We all right, believe that this is the best solution, all right? You can say when in fact, no, you are going to have many options. I'm going to write the options over here, but they are not needed. When in fact, the thing, all right, the best is far from the one, all right, they mentioned. Something like that, okay? You can use comma, semicolon, when in fact the best solution is far from the one they mentioned. As you can see, it's a little bit different. That's why it's with a different color, all right, when in fact. But all of the rest of the ideas that you have in the list that are over there, however, conversely, in contrast, on the contrary, on the one hand, on the other hand, by way of contrast, all of them are going to be used with this same formula, all right, this same formula. Now, I have most of you here. We're going to talk about the essay and all those details, but please, before talking about those details, because I'm going to show you the new criteria, let's work with the first examples, please. Let's go, as always, to the file. I'm copying and pasting it. All right. And let's work only 2 examples with these contrasting ideas. All right, 2 examples. Remember that you have to use this structure. If you use when in fact, we're going to use this structure, or if you use but or yet, you're going to use the found voice structure. There you go. Remember, only please, only, let me show you, the first group, all right? Only the first group. And I was forgetting, yes, while and whereas, even though they are subordinated conjunctions as because, they are going to be used with commas as well, all right? First idea, while, comma, all right? Second idea, after while. Only 1 comma. I'm going to give you an example with while over here. All right. In the meantime, you can start working on this. 2 examples using one of those words. So I was very bright, excited, very happy about that change. You were very sad about it. Okay, so because it's contrast, when while is not contrast, you don't need comma. But when while is contrast, you use while, you use comma, and here you can replace that with whereas as well. Both mean the same. Both mean contrast. Both mean this is one idea, but this is a different idea. Let's work with that, please. You can use any of the expressions that you have on the first group of words. If you have any extra questions, you can let me know or you can ask me, please. That group, only that group, please. All right, so I'm going to see how you're doing. We're going to check some of your examples. Remember that if we use the words that are not in color, right, we have to use this formula over here, right? And please, let's try to use all the punctuation rules we have. First, or semicolon or period, the transition word or phrase, then comma, right? After, for example, any of those words, we use a comma, the ones that are in black, comma, and the second complete idea. So far, we had 4 examples, right? Also, please take that into account. Right now, you're writing extra 2 examples, so we're going to have 6. At least we're going to write other 4 examples more. So we're going to have in total, I don't know, 8, 10 examples, right? Take that into account, because remember that when we check the assignments, you share the link because, as I told you, I see the number of examples that you wrote. Okay, good. So I'm going to say how you're doing. All right, try to keep working on that. You're going to let me know if you have questions. Again, please, 2 examples with the first group. All right, two examples with this group, please.
Teacher, I have a question.
Tell me, Luciana, what is your question?
If I use like the word path, like if I use this structure like first complete idea, semicolon, or period, I cannot use after the first complete idea the comma, right? Only between those two.
Yes, when you use but, you have to use the fan voice structure, right? As I mentioned, it means that you need the
like
first
the
idea, only a comma, exactly. The first idea, comma, but, and the second idea. You don't need semicolon or period, and you don't need another comma after but, because that's.
But it will be okay if I say like in my sentence, it's like I was not sure because of the rules that says that after the first complete idea, I have to use semicolon or period. But I can be able to use the comma, right? If I use but.
I got a message that my internet was a little bit slow. You said that you wanted to apply that structure, right? Remember that that structure only applies to the words that are in black, Luciana. However, conversely, in contrast, on the contrary, on the other hand, as I told you, with but and with yet, we use a different structure, not the one. But tell me one more time, you wanted to use the structure that is in the document, right?
Yes, I wanna do the example with but, but I was wondering if I could use the comma, but I think that yes, because there are not the words in black.
Yes, exactly. We don't use that structure. You use the fan voice structure that we know, that it's only one comma before with but and with yet.
Okay, teacher.
Sorry, teacher, I have a question.
Sorry, one more time, please. Yes, again, I'm having some problems again. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if you're able to hear what I was telling you. It's just that the words in black are going to use that we use with transition words, right? Semicolon or period, the transition word, and comma, and then the second idea. Only the words that are in black. The words that are in red actually are going to follow either the structure that is when in fact, I gave you an example at the beginning of the document, or the structure that is with while, only one comma before the word, and that's it, all right? Mariana, tell me and let me know.
Sorry, teacher. I want to write my sorry. Um, this sentence that it's like we finished all the segments before, while we play the rest of the time. And I don't know if the comma it's going to be after we or before we. How is the
But
right
in that
form?
case, if you realize you're using while with the second meaning, we cannot use while like that, because if you realize that is not contrast, because you are talking about things that are happening at the same time. And that's also one use of while. And when you use while in that way, you don't need any commas, all right? You don't need any punctuation. Also, while is not contrast, so it's not part of this group. If you want to use while as contrast, you only need one comma, and the second idea has to be a contrasting idea to the first one. What is a contrasting idea, Mariana? It has to be something like this. I like red, comma, while you like blue. All right, as simple as that. That is a contrasting idea. It has to be something different. You have to show two different, all right, positions from two different people, or perhaps two different thoughts that you have, but they have to be different. But when you say, right, we finished all the assignments before, right, while we played the rest of the time, it's like you want to show something different, but that's not contrast, right? That is actually two things happening at the same time. You also use while with that, but in this case, we don't have to use while with that meaning. Okay, just that, take that in mind, please, Mariana. I don't know if it was clear or if you have extra questions, let me know, please.
No, teacher, thank you.
Okay, perfect. You're welcome. Now I'm going to start checking. Let's see how you're doing. Remember, the words that were in black follow this structure, right? First idea, complete idea, and so on. The ones that are in red follow either this idea with while. I was very happy about that change, right? While you were very sad about it, right? In that case, I'm showing because I'm happy. Well, I was happy and you were sad. Or when in fact, you're going to use either comma or same, but it's not going to be this structure over here. So let's continue. Actually, let's begin with these examples. Shadai, please read your examples.
Okay, his car has a flat tire. However, he has a spare tire to replace. The next one is today she answered a lot of telephone calls for her birthday, whereas her parents didn't call her to congratulate her.
Good, very good. Only one thing in the second sentence, as you see there, Sharai, whereas was a word in red. It means that the punctuation rule is different. Take a look at this example over here. This is the punctuation rule that we use for whereas. It's going to be the same as the palm voice. We only need a comma to use whereas. If we use a period, it's going to be too much for this subordinating conjunction. All right. Usually for subordinating conjunctions, because, while, whereas, all right, those are subordinating conjunctions. Usually we don't use punctuation at all. We don't use and don't use a second comma after whereas, please, Sharai. All right. I don't know if you were able to hear, because again, my internet is not working very good. Were you able to hear that, Sharai? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, there was a lot of interruption, but I understand the punctuation rule. So I think it's
okay. Good. So, yes, just in summary, then we don't use period with whereas, all right, and we are not going to use semicolon unless it's very necessary a semicolon, but that's the maximum. But the thing we always use with whereas is comma. Only one comma before whereas. We don't use a second comma after the word. All right. Only as this example, then, Sharai. Right. I was very happy about that change. Comma, while, or comma, whereas, you were sad about it. But I don't use a second comma. Only one comma before and no comma after it. Okay. And maximum, we can use a semicolon. That's it. Good. Any questions or comments? Let me know, please, Sharai.
no, teacher, no questions. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. No, thank you. Read your examples, please. All right. I'm not sure if perhaps my internet is not working again, but I'm going to try to go to the next person and I'm going to be back. Let's try to work with you then, Mariana. If you can hear me, please, your two examples.
Okay, teacher. The first is I ask you to be on time. However, I'm always late too. And the second is my favorite food is pasta, while your favorite food is hamburgers.
Okay, just some details as I was saying. Thank you, Mariana. Remember, however, is one of the words that is in black, right? And remember that for all of the words that are in think over here, right? This is the formula that we're going to use most of the time with these words. I'm only giving you other exceptions, but for most of the words, it's going to be this formula, all right? So if you see here, Mariana, it says first complete semicolon or period, then transitional word or phrase, then you need a comma, and then you need the second complete idea. It means that, however, cannot be used with only one comma when you have two complete ideas, all right? Because that's going to be incorrect. Because it's a transitional word, we have to use at least a semicolon, all right? So it's going to be semicolon, however, all right? Semicolon, however, comma, right? I am always late too. Then that will be good.
Okay, teacher. And the second part, when I said my favorite food is pasta, while the comma in while it can be after your or before your.
As I was telling you, you only need one comma there. If you look at the example, I think my internet's a little bit slow. Give me a second. Can you hear me, Mariana? Let me know if you can hear me, please.
Yes, teacher, I can hear you.
Okay. Subordinating conjunctions of contrasts. And we have two that are very well known, while and whereas. So only one comma, please, Mariana, and the comma is before while. Don't use a comma after while, and don't use a comma after the subject, all right? You don't need another comma, only one.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
All right, good. So you're welcome. All right, so my favorite food is pasta, while your favorite food is, okay, good. You can say, okay, very good. It works very good now, Mariana. Thank you very much. I'm going now to you, please, Whitney. Read your examples, please.
Okay, I received some sunflowers, whereas you have arrived in Toronto. Institutions don't talk about the sea contamination. However, pollution is a real problem and this situation has been increasing.
Okay, thank you. Now, I only have one question. In the first one, again, grammatically speaking and punctuation is very good. But something that it's a little bit weird over here is that I don't see very well the contrast between those two ideas, right? Of course, they are different, right? I received some sunflowers. It's like saying, however, remember that we're using all these words. You can replace all the words that you're using by however. If you replace that however at it makes sense, it's logical, then it's correct, all right? If it sounds a little bit weird or you don't see the connection, try to write something different, right? For example, I received some sunflowers, it's correct, comma, whereas or semicolon, however, comma, could be, you have arrived in Toronto, right? So I don't see the connection or the real connection between those two. Perhaps you can give me extra information to make me understand why the second one is a contrast of the first one, right? Because they seem like very different ideas and they don't seem to be. And can be, I like this color, but you like this color. Or I like this color, but you don't like that color. All right. So
okay,
a contrasting idea has to be like that.
Maybe,
Tell me.
Teacher. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
could be you have received lilies.
One more time. You have received
Lilies. Lilios creo que se dice en español, pero lilios in English.
Okay, so in the second part, you want to say that?
Yes. That
okay,
could be
yes.
the same context.
Yeah. In that way, it's going to be logic because you're showing that you have two different ideas, but in a certain way, they are connected. All right, in a certain way, they are connected. Again, they also can be different. You don't need to talk about I like and you like this, or I like and you don't like. It's an example, but you need to show me the connection. But if you say that with me, it's going to be correct in this case, because I see that you're using contrast with the second idea, and the second idea is contrasting the first idea. Okay, that's going to be very good. All right. Then it's about sea contamination, period. However, pollution is a real problem and this situation has been increasing. Good. I can see the contrast between these two, right? I think it's obvious. You're talking about contamination, pollution, right? And they are related in a certain way. So I don't know if you have any questions or comments with me. Let me know, please.
And so whereas is the same but and while, right?
Exactly. Whereas, while, but, yet, however, in this context, because remember that while can have a different meaning sometimes, right? So in this context, when you use them with this punctuation, yes, they are going to be the same. All right,
Okay.
with this punctuation and with this context. Any
Okay.
other comments or questions? Let me know, please.
I have an extra question, but it's not a reference of this structure. It's about phrasal verbs.
All right, so let's finish with this. I'm going to explain about the essay, and you can ask me the question then. All right?
Okay, teacher, no problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's work with you, please, now, Luciana.
Okay. Sorry. I love my best friend, but he doesn't hang out with me anymore and only sees his girlfriend. And she's not happy with her job. However, if she quits her job, she's not gonna have money for the education of her kids.
Good, good, very good. That's great. I think these are very good examples, Luciana. Only one little thing, and it's not a mistake. The way you're using but and however is great. Only and. In this case, as and is not separating two complete ideas, because if you realize, sees is part and it's a verb of this subject, right? He. So when you're using that, when you are separating, when and is mentioning the second verb of this subject over here, then we don't need a comma over here. All right, that's going to be the rule. We don't need a comma. It's not incorrect. If you said it, it's going to be like unnecessary, but it's not going to be incorrect. Okay, you only need and you only must actually, right? You only must use comma when after and you have the subject again. All right, it doesn't matter if it's the same subject, but if you repeat he over here, then you need a comma. All right, so only when you have another subject over here, you're going to need a comma. If not, it's considered part of the same idea.
Okay.
So no comma is needed over there.
It will be okay if I was talking about another subject, right? Because maybe I could say the same sentence, but and he only sees his girlfriend. It was not necessary need a comma, right? Because it's the same person.
Yes, actually. Yeah, but actually, if you repeat actually he and you say one more time, the best thing to do, actually, it doesn't matter if you say he, right? For example, and he only sees his girlfriend. In this case, if you repeat one more time one subject, even though it's the same subject, it's a good idea to write this. It's not necessary, but it's a good idea grammatically speaking. Okay, you only don't do this, even if it's the same subject, but you don't mention it once again, you don't need a comma. All right, so the idea is not that it's the same subject. The idea here is that you are mentioning a subject, and it could be the same subject or it could be a different subject. But if you don't mention any subject and you only have a verb, then and is more than enough. All right, and we don't need an extra comma. I don't know if you have any other comments or questions. Let me know. After that, the sentences are very, very good. Any questions? Let me know, please.
It's clear, thank you.
Great, thank you. With some of you, I was missing. I don't know, Melissa, if you're there, let me know, please. If you are,
yes, teacher.
Let's read those two examples, please. Okay.
Okay. The first one is she did the new reports very quickly and without any inconvenience, while I was really struggling with the new format and rewriting all the data. And the second one is he was excited to share the new ideas for the advertising campaigns. However, nobody thought they were good enough to be actually released.
Great, great, very good. Yeah, actually, they are very, very good, Melissa. Very complex. You structure all the ideas very, very well. You have complex ideas, actually, with a lot of adverbs, adjectives, interesting vocabulary, and they are working very good. And the punctuation is being used in the best way possible. So I have observations. I think they work great, Melissa. I just want to ask you if you have any questions or comments.
Yes, and the last one, in the second one, I was thinking that maybe I could put I don't know, a dot after campaigns, and however would be with capital H, and then the comma. But I saw the presentation and it wasn't like that. It was with semicolon. I don't know if that would be okay also, or this was the only way that
Yes.
this sentence be written.
No, actually, if you look up here, all right, this is the formula, right? And it says semicolon or period. So actually with, however, Melissa, you can use period. And it depends on what? Actually, it depends on two things. First, if the two ideas, even though they are contrasting, if you see that they are like too complex, all right, a very complex idea, and then you have a second very complex idea, and they are not only complex, but they are long ideas, then the best option is to write period, all right? But you can do it. You can write period, however, comma. With all of those words that are in black, Melissa, you can write period or semicolon. Now, the second thing, again, so the first, let's say, the first clue of when to use colon, oh, sorry, semicolon or period is how long the first and the second sentences are and how complex they are. If they are too long and too complex, then use period, all right? And the second one is the emphasis that you want to give. If even though they are not too complex, but you believe that a period is going to work better because it's going to separate the first idea to the second one, and it's going to give that first thought, and this is my second contrasting thought, then use a period as well. But if you believe that it's just part of a fluent idea that you are writing, then a semicolon will be more than enough. Then you have those can follow Melissa, but it's correct either if you use period or semicolon, both are correct, all right? Both are going to be correct. Any other questions or comments? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, that was my only question. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Melissa. I think we're going to finish with you, Lourdes. Let's read your examples, please, Lourdes.
Okay, technology is very useful for so many activities. On the other hand, it could be dangerous for children if they don't have the correct supervision. And he does love soccer, whereas her sisters hate it.
Great, there you go, Lourdes. Again, I see no mistakes over here. They are being used with the right punctuation, as you're doing here, right? Semicolon or period, it doesn't matter. It depends on the emphasis you give or the Let's then, actually, before continuing with this, let's talk about the criteria. Again, I received the message that my internet is not working very good. Please, if it's being really hard to hear me, let me know, all right? Tell me, teacher, I didn't hear that, or I couldn't hear that, okay? Let me know, please. Because now I'm going to mention one more time how I checked your first work. I'm not going to show, of course, the, let me see, okay. I'm not going to show the scores. I think that's private. You can check that by yourselves, please. You have access to that. I wrote comments, all right, in all of your work. So you know why I did that or what is missing, or if you did a great job, I told you, right? Great job. Just be careful with this and with that. But let's remember, if you, for example, you have to do 3 things, remember over here, actually only 2 for the in-class activities. First, you had to upload the 9 words with the English definition, right? Only the English definition. You asked me if we need a translation. No, we don't need a Spanish translation, right? I told you no Spanish translation, only English definition, the word and the English definition. You asked me if we need examples you have the 9 words and 3 points.
Sorry,
And also,
teacher, I can
that
hear
was
the
part
last
of it.
part.
Okay, so one more time, the last part, Mariana. So all in all, if you uploaded the 9 words with the English definition, it was complete, all right? No Spanish translation, no examples of the words, only the word with the English definition, that's it. So if you did that, then you had the 30 points over here, all right? The 30 points over here. That's the first thing. The second thing, remember, and I remind you that many times, upload the file, please, and the link of the file. And again, that's only because I want you to do that related or do that something related to that, because I'm going to see if you're reading the instructions, if you're reading the criteria, right, and you're reading everything. And actually, if you're also in class, because I read all those instructions for you in class. So remember, if you did that with the vocabulary, 30 points. If you did that and you copy and pasted the link, or as a private comment, as I said with Lourdes, then it was correct and complete. If you only did that, all right, sorry, those 2, then you had 30 points, all right, 30 points. Just by copy and pasting the link, one thing, and uploading the vocabulary with the definitions that you can copy and paste from the internet, right? 70 points over there, just like that. And over that, Mariana, tell me, do you have any questions? Okay.
Teacher?
Yes, tell me, Lucia.
I have a question. I don't understand well the part of the link. We have to put the 9 words with the with the English definition, but I don't understand well what about the link, because it wasn't doing very well.
All right. So as we saw in class, what you have to do, you see this document, right? The document you're working this unit, Luciana. Unit 2, and you're writing your examples here, right? The only thing I need you to do, Luciana, is copy and paste in this link. And you can copy and paste in this link if you want in the document in which you have the vocabulary, or if you want as a private comment when you are uploading your work. All right, you can copy and paste the link in those 2 possible places, Luciana, either in the document with the 9 words or as a private comment, only that. And it has to be the link of the work that we do every unit. Any other questions? Let me know, please.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Okay, good. So again, if you do that, you have 70 points, just like that, all right? 70 points, just by doing that. And actually, the only thing that you do, if you realize, you only have to look for new words in English and copy and paste. And of course, you have to memorize or try to work with those words. That's something that you can do with time. The only thing I need you to do is copying and pasting those things. And the last thing is to participate in class and to have all the sentences that we have. If you see, and we read this with you, I remember, right? The student writes all the sentences and phrases. So if here, for example, so far it says, right, Sharai, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all of you have 6 sentences, 6 examples, let's say, not always sentences, 6 examples so far. So I'm going to change that here, 6 examples. So if you have the 6 examples over there, and that's only the thing we do in class, then you have the last 30 points and you have 100 points, all right? That's the way that you can get 100 points with in-class activities. This was for the first week, but it's going to be the same for the second one, for the third one, and for the fourth one, all right? Until the end of this course, it's going to be the same. So that's the only thing I need you to do, all right? Upload that document with the words, copy and paste the link, and participate in class. In case you have to leave, or in case you were not in class for a bit, yes, for something happened, all right? Try to check, take a look, all right? Try to take a look at this document and see, right here, you're going to see the number of examples and take a look at how many examples your partners wrote. If you see 6 examples and you see that they are using however and they are using whereas while, then try to do the same, right? And you're going to be okay. You have until Monday to complete all that, all right? That's the first thing. The second part is related to the essay. Remember that the essay was supposed to have 200 words, right? It was here. And I also read that with you, right? 200 words. It was for the first, all right? I'm reading the first week, for last Monday. So, and I use this criteria to evaluate. It was a spelling. If you had some problem, then you could have lost all of these points. At least 2 mistakes, that's going to be 20 points. In punctuation, 40 points. Even if you have 2 mistakes, it's still 40 points, all right? 2 mistakes is still 40 points. Some of you got these 40 points, and the 2 or 3 people, all right, got the 40 points over here, and even the spelling ones. So you did it. If you have some problems with punctuation and spelling, again, all right, of course I want to help you. That's why I ask you every time, right? If it's correct, if you have any questions. Google Docs is going to correct your spelling mistakes or your sentences that are a little bit incorrect. Again, I saw the message that my internet is not working very good. If you were not able to hear something, please let me know. But finally, number of words. This is very important. 2 of you, all right, follow this. 2 of you. I think one of you even did it like perfectly, like 200 words or 201. It was like a point. The other one was, let's say, 210, 215, which was not bad, but was still a little bit long. But if you wrote 250, 260, or you wrote 180, 170, then that's not correct, right? That's why you lost.
Teacher, we don't hear you.
Oh, so I'm here again. So sorry again. I don't know. I have to verify what's happening with my connection, and I have to fix that. But please let me know what was the last thing that you were able to hear so that I can go over there. Who can tell me the last part that was possible for you to hear?
We are in the excellent.
In
Okay,
the
in number of words.
Yes,
Okay,
teacher.
good. So take that into account, please. Thank you very much. If you are asked to write 200 words, then if you want to have 40 points, and remember that in essays, in international essays, even the title is going to be counted, all right? Even the title is going to be counted. Everything is going to be counted as part of the words. But that's why I'm also giving you 10 extra words to write in the next essay for next Monday. Instead of 250, as I told you, have 260. So that you can use 10 words for the title, for your name if you want, okay? But again, if you want the 40 points, please try to respect that and be between 5 words, more or less. It means 205 or 295. But again, this is how I evaluated your previous job, all right, for last Monday. I'm repeating this again so that you understand why you have perhaps or either a low score or you understand why you got a perfect score, right? Because some people got perfect score in this. And it's just try to follow these criteria. Now I'm going to show you, and actually I'm going to repeat only the fact that the in-class activities ask exactly the same. You only need to upload the file with the 9 new words with the English definition, and you have to copy and paste the link. And of course, in the link, you show examples, right, that we were working in class. That's it. That's everything you need first week. So the vocabulary with the 9 words and the 9 definitions in English, and the link of the file with all the examples that we work in class. And with that, you have 100 points. The one that changes a little bit, and I'm going to continue working a little bit, is the second essay. Please, you're going to help me read this one so that you also understand this very well. Please, Whitney, help me out with the first part and the first 2 points of this new essay.
Okay, the essay must 1. Be written on Word format, 2. Use all the punctuation rules that have been learned.
Thank you very much, Whitney. So far is the same, right? Word format and punctuation rules. Not different from what we did. Sorry, this must be 4. But please, the next 2 points, and if you can help me with that, Sharai, number 3, and this is supposed to be number 4. The next 2, please, Sharai.
Okay, use all the transitional word phrases, fanboys, and connectors you've learned. Have a total of 260 words.
Great, that's it. Thank you very much, Sharai. So the essay, right, must have all of those things. The essay must be written on Word format, the punctuation rules that you know, all the transitional words. In the criteria, you're going to see more specific, all right, numbers, but use the transitional words, phrases, fanboys, connectors that you've learned, and have a total of 260. Now you have a little variations, but it's actually the same, plus 1 extra criteria. The spelling is the same criteria, spelling, all right? If you make mistakes in writing, you're going to lose points, but you can only lose maximum, all right? And of course, you can earn 20 points if you do everything correctly. Punctuation, the same criteria, but you only can lose or earn 30 points. If you have 2 mistakes, it's okay, because if you have 2 mistakes in punctuation, you still have the perfect score, all right? With 2 mistakes, you still have 30 points. Minus 5 points if you have more than 2 mistakes, right? And at most 4, and so on and so forth. This is what you read with me. Now, this is different, but before going to that point, you're going to help me with that. Number of words is also the same. So now you have to write 260 words. Some of you already did it. 2 of your essays, all right, were with one with 250 or something like that, and the other one with 264. So you already did it. It's not hard to write 260 words. Remember that every single word is included, and I use the word count of Google Docs to know that. Again, 5 more words or 5 fewer words is going to get you the perfect score. To be losing some points if you write more than 10 or more than 15 extra words or fewer words. Okay. Again, I saw the message. I hope that you are able to hear me. But now we're going to read the new criteria. All right, let's read please the new criteria very, very quickly. Transitional words and phrases, all right, and connectors. The student, all right, the student uses transitional words, phrases, and properly. And this is very important. Lourdes, let me know, please.
Teacher, sorry, I have to go.
Okay, no problem. Try to check the criteria when you can, please, Lourdes. It's only one thing that is changing, but I'm sharing the poll with you. All right, if you have any questions, it's important that you can let me know, Lourdes.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Perfect. No, you're welcome. Bye-bye. Okay, so let's continue. So the one that I'm adding, please give me a second, I'm saving this, is transitional words and phrases because that's what we're doing now, right? That's what we are learning this week. So that's the one that is going to be extra to this knowledge. Let me share once again. So this part is very important, okay? You can use transitional words, but they have to be logic, all right? And the two ideas that you are, or that are connected, sorry, are clear and organized. It means if you use transitional phrases, the ones you have here, but you are using the contrasting words and you're not talking about contrast, you're adding information, then it's not going to be correct, right? Or if you're using these transitional words, but the way you are writing the sentence is not clear at all. I don't understand right what the subject is, or the complement is too confusing. If your idea is not clear and is not organized, again, it's not going to be correct. So the criteria here is you have to use those transition words and phrases, but they have to be logic, all right? We cannot use these transition words in any case, but it's going to be clearer with this criteria. Let's read about excellent, please. Melissa, if you can help me with this part, excellent.
Okay, the student writes at least 6 different transitional words and phrases, and all of them are properly used with the right punctuation, and the ideas are clear and well organized.
Thank you very much, Melissa. So that's the perfect score. And 6 is not a lot because actually in the essays that you wrote than 6, all right? Some of you already used these transitional words and phrases because you have knowledge related to that. So you used 7 or 8, and it was only 200 words. Now with 260 words, I imagine that you're going to use a lot more. But what I'm asking is only 6 transitional words and phrases in that essay. But please, all of them, right, must have the right punctuation, and you have the rules over there. And the ideas, right, and everything has to be clear and well organized. The only thing that is going to be changing here is the percentage. But please, at least is 6. Every time is 6. If you want to have at least 15 points over there, yes, 15 points over there, write those 6, all right? If you want to have the perfect score, use the right punctuation, and they have to be clear. But if only 80 to 90% is clear, well organized with the right punctuation, 25 points. If 50 to 70% is clear with the right punctuation, 20 points. If only 30 to 40, again, is well okay, or you write 6 transitional words, and they are less than 30%, then it's only going to be 10, but that you can get, right? The minimum you can get in this part is 10 points. And this is the extra criteria for this essay, all right, for Monday's essay. We have 4 criteria in total: punctuation, transitional words, and number of words. Let me know if you have any questions, please, because this is how I'm going to be evaluating Monday's, all right, assignments. All right, you can let me know. If not, we're going to continue. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Teacher, how I can see my score? I couldn't find.
Okay, right now, I don't know if you see this that I'm going to see over here. If I show you right here, right, everybody's, I don't know if you have access to this section over with me. It says grades.
No, I don't
in
have.
Google Classroom. All right, if you don't have, then go again to the assignment. I think that's going to work. Go to classwork, go to the assignment one more time, go view assignments, and there you should be able to see your score. If you're still not able, let me know. But in that part, you should be able to see your score on the left when you go there. Again, I don't want to get here because everybody's score is going to be there. And I'm sure that perhaps some of you don't want to share that, but and it should be on the left. If it's not on the left, let me know, please. And after, not after the class, but I'm going to contact you and I'm going to guide you step by step. Were you able to find it there with me?
Yeah, I found and I going. Okay, I see my essay, but the other I don't see. But I know. Thank you, teacher.
Right? They're going to
Yes.
be in the other one, right? Good, perfect. Thank you, Whitney. So that's what you have to do. If you don't see grades scores up there, go to the work and select and view assignments. And in that part on the left, you're going to see your score. And again, it's not something that I just wrote. The score is with the criteria rubric, right? It means if you had certain mistakes in punctuation, it's going to be there. All right, good. Now let's go then to the lesson itself, and let's continue covering this. If you have extra questions, please let me know. Essay is going to be with these words that we are learning here. Let's go to the second group. That is, again, we're going to cover only 3 groups. The most important, all right, the most important ones are this one that we already covered, this one considering a point, and replacing an indicator, all right, alternative. We work with this, so let's work with considering a point. Please, you're going to help me out with this one. Mariana, read all the words that we have here, please, Mariana. Common terms and the phrases.
Okay. Considering and point, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Nevertheless, nonetheless, although despite this, however, regardless of this, admittedly. Even so, even though, in spite of this, notwithstanding this, be that as it may.
Good. Thank you very much, Mariana. So let me now select again. Let's see, all the ones that are in the color that you know, black, are going to be the ones that we use with the punctuation that we know. And all the ones that are in red are going to be a little bit different. You know that. This actually can be a little bit different, but no, yes, it's going to be. And also a little bit, actually, the first part is not going to be different, but it uses a phrase. That's why I'm going to use that as an example. And even though in spite of these, here we have many exceptions, almost in the same way. Yes, and actually I'm marking these ones, but they are actually use the same punctuation, these two, but I'm going to show you how. Okay, in general. Now, what happened with although? So nevertheless, nonetheless, despite this, all right, however, regardless of this, if you use with that thing that you have in parentheses, then it's going to be the same punctuation. Despite of this, comma, you have the idea, okay? The same with regardless. Regardless of this, what is considering a point? What is the difference between contrasting and considering a point? To consider a point is that even though, all right, even though this is a good idea, you're not going to do it because of a special thing that is happening. Okay, for example, you can say, you know, I love swimming. I love swimming. Nonetheless, I'm not going to swim today because it's raining. Okay, so considering a point is not like contrast that this is one thing and this is the opposite. No, it's like you like something, but you're not going to do it because something else is happening. And that's the same with all of those. All right. And I'm going to write some examples with although over here. Yeah, it's closed. Luciana, you can ask me questions if you have some, please.
Okay, teacher, I don't understand well that part in the presentation because I saw the word despite, and in the right of the word was the word this in parentheses, and I'm not sure what that means.
Good. So actually all of them are going to mean this idea, Luciana, and you're going to understand with this example that if you use in spite of, despite, nonetheless, and nevertheless, it's going to be something similar that I say. I love right.
I'm not able to hear you very well. I think that is
okay
because of your connection.
Yes. So one more time.
The last
I'm going
thing
to repeat
was that I'm sorry. Yes, please.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. No. Yes. No. Sorry, Luciana. Again, I don't know what's happening with my connection, but yeah, I don't know what was the last part. You can tell me if you want, but the idea again is going to be the same. Take a look at these examples. All right. Take a look at these examples. I'm going to write very simple and common example with many of those words. Right. You can say I love soccer. Right. Despite of this. There you say, sorry, semicolon, right? Despite this, sorry.
Oh, okay, teacher. So I have to use this after despite to make sense in the sentence.
Exactly. But you have a second option, and that's what I'm going to mention here, Luciana. If you don't want to mention this, you can write a phrase, not a sentence. It's incorrect if you a complete sentence after despite. But you can write as a phrase, and a phrase can be something like this. Despite that fact, that's a phrase. Despite that fact, despite that information, or even phrase can be an idea that starts with what. If your idea starts with what, then it's going to be a phrase. Despite what, all right, I said, then it's going to be considered a phrase. Is replacing this idea. All right, I love soccer is summarized in this word. So I love soccer, semicolon. Despite this, comma, I'm not playing because my leg is broken. And look how I'm going to use a different word. For example, this word over here. I'm going to use although. All right. And I can say, although I love soccer, although you don't use this, right? Although I love soccer, right? Comma, I'm not playing because my leg is broken. And you copy and paste that. So this is the way you're going to be using these sentences, Luciana. Now, we have some actions. Even so, even though, are the same as although. So here, instead of although, you can say even though. All right, even though. It's correct. You can say even so. All right. Those apply there. And in spite of is the same as despite. So you can say here, instead of despite, of. And then you take this. So those are the exceptions. And you write the exceptions, let's say exceptions, because in a certain way they are similar, all right? But this is the way you write them. Again, this is for in spite of or despite. And this is for although, even though, even so. Even you don't need the first idea. You can say something like this. I'm going to give this the last example. All right, we're going to finish with. You can say, in spite of my love for soccer, look, I can say that. And that's not a, if you see, this is not a sentence. My love for soccer is not a sentence. But you can say that directly. In spite of my love for soccer, I'm not playing because my leg is broken. So this is concession. All right. This is concession. And this is what I'm going to be waiting in your examples. And actually, these, right, the words that are in black are only the same. All right. I'm only going to write with one of them. Let's say none. And I'm going to say exactly the same. So, right, I say, I love soccer, semicolon, or period, right? Nonetheless, comma, I'm not playing because my leg is broken. So I think these are all the examples that I can give you. All right, these are all the examples that I can give you. But if you follow that logic, it's going to be correct. Do you have any extra questions, Luciana, or everybody with me, Sharai, Melissa? Let me know, please, or Mariana.
No, teacher, I think that everything's clear. Thank you for that explanation.
Great. So with that, I think we didn't read this yet. Nevertheless.
Sorry, teacher. What did you say?
Yeah, well, sorry. Well, one more time. Sharai, let's read please these examples. Nevertheless.
Okay, teacher. Nevertheless, eggs is still an important factor. In spite of this fact, New York still has a high standard of living. Although this may be true, there are still other factors to consider.
Thank you very much. So if you see this, they are using the same I used. Nevertheless with comma. In spite of, you can say only this, or you can use a phrase. In spite of my love for soccer, in spite of the weather is a phrase. In spite of whatever you want, right? In spite whatever you want, but it has to be a phrase, not a complete sentence. Then comma, and then you write a complete sentence after the comma. And although, complete idea, comma, complete idea. It's just the way I wrote in the example. If you follow my examples on the document, then it's going to be correct. Let's work then, please. Let's write this to finish this class. Only 2 examples. You can write the examples with any of the words you want. Luciana, let me know what other questions you have.
Sorry, teacher. That word, what is the way that I could pronounce in the part of common phrases, notwithstanding? What will be the
actually, it's correct, notwithstanding, right? Notwithstanding this, notwithstanding that, and notwithstanding, it's going to be, actually, I didn't mention that. You can use notwithstanding the same way you're going to use despite or in spite of. All right. So again, you can say, notwithstanding my love for English, notwithstanding the weather, notwithstanding my condition, comma, I played, or I took the test, or did my assignment. Okay, that's going to be notwithstanding. Any other questions?
No, teacher.
If you don't have any extra questions, perfect. Thank you, Luciana. So let's work with the 2 examples, please. Only 2 examples with this group. You can use any of those words. Let's do it, please. And you have extra examples that I wrote in the file, right? So let's work with that, please.
Teacher, I have a question. That is like a cause and effect?
In this case, if you see, it's not like cause and effect. It's like the example, right? If you analyze the example again, I love soccer. Nonetheless, I'm not playing, right, because my leg is broken. So it's referred, yeah, of course, the effect of your leg is broken is that you're not playing soccer. But in a certain way is to say that even though you agree with the first idea, let's say like that, all right? Even though you agree with the first idea, there is something that is like limiting you, and you cannot do that, or you cannot perform that, and you cannot do that in a certain way. So that's more or less the idea. Consider though you agree with the first idea that it's okay or it's not okay. In the second part, you have to show me, in your second sentence, you have to show me that you are not doing what you're saying in the something is like letting you again, right? Something is not letting you do that. That's more or less the logic that those ideas must have with me. The first one, the thing that you feel, that you love, that you like, that you agree with. And in the second part, you have to tell me that what's happening, why you're not doing that, or why it's not possible to express that if you love that. That's more or less. I don't know if you understand that. Whitney, or you have any questions, let me know.
So that's there is a limit that you can to do something.
Yes, there's like a limit. There's like something, yes, that doesn't let you, a limit, exactly, a limit. And of course, the limit is not always going to be mentioned, right? It's not always going to be mentioned, but it's a good idea to mention that limit to have some context. The other example was, if you remember, Whitney, if you say, although, right? I'm using this word in red. Although I love English, right? Although I love English, comma, I couldn't attend to the classes because I'm very sick, all right? So I'm telling something that I like, something that I agree with, and then I'm, as you said, to make you know why, even though I love English, you heard me, my internet is failing again. But even though I love English, I didn't do it because of this limit, because of this special case. So that's more or less the idea with me. I don't know if it helps.
Okay, I understand. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. In the meantime, while you're writing, I'm going to give you other simple examples. And of course, you can write something more complex. You can say, even though I love blue, comma, right? I'm going to paint it red because I don't have my blue color. That's it. Another very simple example. You can say, Bolivia has, right? And this is a different example, but it helps you understand. Bolivia has a lot of natural resources. Nevertheless, right, we are not taking advantage of all those resources we have, right? And we are a poor country. So even though we have a lot of resources, we are poor because we don't take advantage of that, or because the government, right, does this or that, etc. You can follow any ideas you want related to that logic.
Teacher, I have a question.
Tell me, Luciana, your question.
If I use the common term that of admittedly, regardless of, that means like I'm saying a true independent, right? It's like that's true independently of. It will be okay. That definition.
Yeah, regardless of, is going to be, again, I forgot to take the red away on of in spite of, but despite this, in spite of, notwithstanding this, and regard are the same. So you can use the structure with regardless of, right? You can say, I love soccer, semicolon, right? Regardless of this, right? Or regardless, sorry, of this, comma, I cannot play because my leg is broken. So you can use that in the same way. Or you can say, regardless of my love for soccer, right? Or regardless of the fact that I love English, comma, I'm not in class because I have a very important meeting. And admittedly is going to be the same as nevertheless or nonetheless, with semicolon and a comma after. This is going to be the same as nonetheless and nevertheless.
Okay, but I can use admittedly Yes, I was confused because I was not sure if I could say admittedly together with regardless, because that was I saw in the presentation, so I was confused.
Yes, no, they actually they are there, right, kind of together, but no. If you see a semicolon over there, it means that they are different. All right, they are different terms. So better if you use either regardless of this or either immediately. All right, one of those, it's enough. Some of you have your ideas. I'm going to start checking those. Let's begin with you this time, please. Let's read your two examples, please. Sorry, I think my connection again is not working very good. Melissa, are you there? Let me know, please.
Yes, teacher, I couldn't hear you.
Okay, great.
The first one.
Let's read your two examples, please.
Okay, the first one is, despite working all day, he still had to do an extra shift on the weekend to finish his presentation. And the last one is, although she has a lot of experience as an English teacher, she seemed a little bit shy and nervous at her interview.
Okay, very good, very good. Just a little thing, I'm going to write this like English with capital letter, but that's it. Everything else is being used very, very good. You're using the right punctuation. A phrase, working all day, it's a phrase, so it works perfectly over there. Complete idea after although and then a comma. Very good. I have no observations besides that one of the letter. I don't know if you have any questions or comments, Melissa. Again, your examples were very good.
Yes, teacher, I'm not sure, but I was thinking about writing in her interview instead of at. I don't know if you can explain me the difference between those. I put at because it sounds better in my mind, but I don't know if it would be correct as well or not.
Look, sometimes we can play with this and we're going to see what happens, but I'm going to give you like something very specific. We use at when the thing that we're going to mention after this is very, very specific, and perhaps we know both what we're talking about. Her interview is the of that, right? So it's possible to use this. Some people are going to say like what you want, right? In her interview, which is also going to be okay, but it's going to be implicit the idea that it happened in the process of having that interview. But it's also correct. So it's only the emphasis, Melissa. At is very general, the idea of interview, and that it's very, very specific to someone. For example, it's my interview, her interview, your interview. But if you say in an interview, right, that's going to be better if you don't mention what's that interview, if it's yours, if it's hers, something like that. So in is going to be more general, and in is going to be used to put emphasis that it happens something in between that interview that can be something like that. All right, that's more or less the difference. At for very specific, in for more general, at for possessives and something like that, and in to mention that something happened in the interview. I don't know if that helps a little bit, Melissa.
Yes, teacher, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Good. Let's now go with, I think we have, you're still finishing, it doesn't matter. I'm going to work with you. Yes, Whitney, let's read your examples, please.
Okay, in spite of the government, vaccines won't arrive here soon. I buy many interesting books, be that as it may, I don't have money for my lunch.
Okay, okay, all right. So the first one works very, very good, right? In spite of the government, you can say, because if you say in spite of the government, but the government what? For example, when you say, right, in spite of my love for soccer or my love for English, you know that you love English, right? Or that you love soccer. But when you say in spite of the government, it's like, it's okay, right? But the government, what is the government doing? So you can say, for example, there to make it even better, and it's still going to be a phrase with me, you can say, in spite the government's efforts, all right, in spite of the government efforts, or in spite of the government's negotiations, something like that, won't arrive here soon, right? So in that way, you are telling me the action that the government is doing without working in a complete sentence. Because if you say the government's efforts, the government's negotiations, it's not a complete sentence. It's still a
So,
phrase. I
so
don't know
the
if you have
government
questions
is,
with that.
I see, yes, teacher. So the government is like an adjective.
No, the government here is only a noun. But if you say the government's efforts, it's going to be like a noun with a possession, all right? A noun and a possession. And if you realize a noun and a possession, it's not a complete sentence. It's only a phrase. It's like saying, in spite, right, of, I don't know, right, my dog playing something. But in this case, you have a noun, the government, and you have possession or action that the government is doing, but as possession is mentioned as possession here. You can say that in other words, in spite of the efforts of the government. So you have two nouns. Effort is a noun and government is a second noun. All right. So those two options, Whitney, and in those two options, you're still working with phrases. Okay? And in the second one, I buy many interesting books, right? Let's say you can replace this. If it replaces nonetheless, it works very good. I buy many interesting books money for my lunch. It can be, but again, the way that you have the money for your lunch, so again, I think this is, well, having a lot of problems. So please, we're going to try to finish here. I don't know if you were able to listen to the feedback that I was giving you, Whitney. In the second one, it's just that I see more or less the connection, but it's like you have to tell me, right, that perhaps you don't have money to buy more books today or something related to buying books, right? It's okay to say that you don't have money for your lunch, but it's not like a concession for the fact that you buy books every time. So you need to tell me that that is changing. The fact of not buying books, all right? So you buy books every time, but something happened and now you are not buying books because of something different, right? But and you can say, nonetheless, or be that as it may, comma, I don't have money to buy one today. That would be a concession. I don't know if you have comments related to that with me. Let me know, please.
No,
Or
teacher.
everybody? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Again, I want to finish this, but let's try to do this quickly because of time, please. I have to go to my other class in 1 minute. Luciana, let's try to read this. And again, I'm sorry for my connection is failing a lot. Let's read your examples very quickly, please, Luciana.
Okay, teacher, no problem. The first one is, even though they were the biggest band in the world for 5 years, from 2010 till 2005, they took an indefinite break. Despite that fact, the integrants of One Direction have a successful career like solo artists.
Good. Well, until that part, Luciana, despite that is a new idea. We are not going to use a comma before despite that.
Okay.
If you did the example, it's going to be either semicolon or period before despite that fact, and then the second part. But then after that, everything is correct. Number 8, please, Luciana.
Okay. And the second is, I love partying and seeing my friends. Regardless of this, I'm not able to see them because of the pandemic and for my fear of getting the virus, or I think that it will be, or spreading my loved ones, spreading the virus to my loved ones.
Okay, yeah, no, actually infecting can also work. Yeah, it's a little bit strong, but yes, you can say spreading the infection, right, to my loved ones. It works better in that way. In the first part, if you see, my fear of getting the virus is not like a complete idea. So you don't need a comma before and. You don't have a second subject, if you realize, right? You don't have a second subject after and. And the last one, or infecting my loved ones, also could be without comma, but you can use a comma just to put emphasis on that. But with that, it will be correct. Other details, please, we're going to check this in detail the next class. Please, if we didn't get to realize or to check your examples now, please, we're going to do it the next class. I had a lot of problems with the internet right now. We're going to do it, I think it's missing Sharai, Mariana. Please, let's do it the next class or even tomorrow, please. It's going to be very hard right now because I have to go to the next class. Again, sorry, because of all these problems, I think the class is going to seem very disorganized. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to give you, please, the poll. Try to complete it because we're going to finish here. Again, if your examples were not revised or checked, please, let's do it tomorrow in the conversation. All right. Thanks for your patience.
Okay, teacher, no problem.
And see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Teacher.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
teacher.
Thank you for understanding. Bye-bye.